Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. Let's talk about Io Sky. Io Sky, in my opinion, is pound for pound one of the best professional wrestlers on the planet, regardless of men, woman, doesn't matter. She is one of the best professional wrestlers on the planet. Now, you think, what makes a great professional wrestler? Now, I think there's a difference between a sports entertainer and a professional wrestler, and we saw that in the John Cena versus Gunther match. John Cena is a sports entertainer through and through. Gunther is a professional wrestler at his core, but he has become more of a sports entertainer because he's in WWE. Now, I think to be the ultimate success in a place like WWE, you have to have elements of both. Yes, you have to be entertaining and charismatic and captivating, but you also have to be able to go in the ring as a professional wrestler. You have to be able to execute. You have to be able to execute with the best of them. You have to have smooth moves and transitions and execution and deliberate strikes and intensity and flow. You have to have elements of both. You have to have elements of being a great sports entertainer because it's an entertainment product, and you have to captivate and draw in an audience. Can you tell a story? Can you share a promo? Can you talk on the microphone? Do you have an interesting entrance or song or ring attire or something that gravitates the fans towards you? And when you step inside the ring, can you go? Can you execute? And Io Sky has that, right? Someone like who's really good right now that you can think has that. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, right? Cody Rhodes does have that type of stuff. You think someone like Will Ospreay, maybe in AEW, has that. Hangman Adam Page has that. Why was Daniel Bryan so successful? Because he has those elements. Why is Gunther becoming so successful? Because he has those elements. He has elements of being a professional wrestler at his core, but grows into becoming a sports entertainer. Why does some not grow to the heights we think they can? Because they're missing one of those elements. Think Jey Uso, great sports entertainer, can't really hack it in the ring with the best of them. And so I say that because Io Sky has both of those elements. She is become a very much sports entertainer with her thing, right? And she also can execute in the ring. She has speed, athleticism, quickness, striking ability. And now you look at some of the newer people coming up in WWE, like Trick Williams and Javon Evans and Obafemi and Braun Breaker, and guys that are slated to be sort of the next generation of superstars to take over some of the people that I just mentioned who have both, right? Roman Reigns has developed himself into the full package. Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, Gunther, Jacob Fatu. Right? These guys have both elements. That's why they are successful. That's why they are successful. You see the guys at the sort of the lower rung, they're missing something there. Right? We're really hoping Austin Theory, in regards to his stature, right? He has the professional wrestling ability. He has some of the sports entertainment aspects, but he's missing that piece that really connects him to an audience. And so when we look at the next generation of guys, those four guys that I mentioned, I am sold on Braun Breaker. I am already sold on Obafemi. I am absolutely not sold on Trick Williams and Javon Evans. I think Trick Williams has the sports entertainment part down. Absolutely. Am I sold on his in-ring ability? No, because I judge a professional wrestler very heavily on the strikes they're able to throw, because throwing a strike in professional wrestling is one of the hardest things to do. The execution, the timing, the precision, the snap to make it look legit and real, and the person selling it also, all of those make strikes very hard, right? And so if you have a really good strike, you're able to build on top of that. That's why AJ Styles is the king of the forearm, because his forearms were so good that he built a bunch of moves on top of that. Why is Gunther really the only one who establishes the chop? Because his chop is better than everyone else's, right? And so strikes matter, and I'm not convinced that Trick Williams and Javon Evans have strikes that are actually meaningful or actually impactful and actually make an audience suspend their disbelief. Now, I think Javon and Trick Williams have the sports entertainment part down, but there are aspects to their in-ring game that need to be sharper if they actually want to be on the main event level, WrestleMania main event level, like I think Braun Breaker and Obafemi are. So that's kind of the spiel for that on what potentially makes a great wrestler. And then it leads me into the topic of Io Sky naming her Mount Rushmore. Now, Mount Rushmore is very subjective. It's very personal. And Io Sky gives her personal WWE Mount Rushmore of Rey Mysterio, Triple H, Liv Morgan, and Rhea Ripley. You can just tell by those 4 names that Io Sky did this solely based on personal feelings. She's obviously had a great relationship with Rey Mysterio. Her boss is Triple H and has given her almost every opportunity that she's ever had. She's great friends with Liv Morgan, and right now she's even current tag team partners with Rhea Ripley. And so Io Sky names her very personal list. I don't hate this list. I certainly wouldn't put Rey Mysterio, Triple H, or Liv Morgan in my Mount Rushmore. Now, if I was doing a only women's Mount Rushmore, Rhea Ripley might be in there. Liv Morgan might be in there in about 5 years' time. Io Sky would definitely be in there. Someone like Becky Lynch and Bayley and Charlotte Flair would certainly be in there. I'd leave the Bella Twins out because they're the worst, professional wrestlers I think I've ever seen. But Io Sky did a very personal Mount Rushmore. If you're asking me what my WWE Mount Rushmore is, it's John Cena, Macho Man Randy Savage, Shawn Michaels, and Randy Orton. That is my WWE Mount Rushmore. I think you can make an argument for a ton of other people like Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Roman Reigns, things of that nature. But those are my 4, and I also have a personal bias towards those as well. But John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, and Randy Savage are my Mount Rushmore. And then Io Sky names hers. But I also gave you a pretty good insight into what really makes a great WWE superstar, this element of being a professional wrestler and this element of being a sports entertainer. And I think being able to strike very efficiently and effectively is at the top of the list of being something that's paramount that creates a star. And if you're an up-and-coming professional wrestler, really, really, really work on that and have both elements of your game, because you're not going to make it to the tippy top. If you want to make it to the tippy top, you have to have both elements. And that's why Roman Reigns has ascended, because he was at the start kind of just a sports entertainer guy because he grew up in the WWE atmosphere, but he realized what he needed to do as a professional wrestler to have great main event style matches. You even look like someone like Brock Lesnar, right, who came from a combat sports sort of wrestling background, is an entertainer. Kurt Angle is an entertainer, but they also have this sort of badass side of them where they're mean and vicious and, execute in the ring. So those are sort of the elements that you can bring together that create a great professional wrestler. And then you think, okay, people can go on my Mount Rushmore. But again, like I said at the top, Io Sky, pound for pound, one of the best professional wrestlers / sports entertainers in the world today, regardless of gender. So that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Then like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.